Hey guys, back again for another one of our Bloody Beat Boops music talks.
Number two.
Yeah, this is the second one. Today we're going to talk about Circa Survive's album Decensus and some of the stuff that happened in the background regarding that.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
pretty cool shit.
yeah, our last video that we did was Knuckle Puck, and that's,
It's last Sunday.
yeah, it was last week. So I will put an annotation for that if I can figure those out.
Yeah, we got to learn how to YouTube. But yeah, one thing on that Knuckle Puck video, the day after we released it, they just signed to major label Rise Records, and they came off of Bad Timing Records. I actually mentioned Bad Timing Records in the video, and now I feel bad. But whatever, they're on Rise Records. Rise Records is awesome. They have my top two favorite bands now.
Nice.
Early November's on Rise Records as well.
Sweet. Alright, well, I guess we'll just,
Oh, and Bloody Beat Boop Season 3 coming up February 8th or 15th, or maybe the week after. We don't know yet. We'll figure that out when Dave starts college.
It all depends on when the radio people are like, yeah, here's the code.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because if I don't have that, I can't get in that room.
As soon as we get that, we'll be in the room on probably Sunday nights again.
Yep. Updates on the Facebook page.
Links in description.
Sure. I can do that. All right. So, first off, I don't have a physical copy of the census, but I've got these.
And then this guy. This guy's pretty sweet. I'm gonna have to lean back a little bit.
Yeah, and then I also have all those albums on CD. So
yeah. So that was Juturna,
On Letting Go, and Blue Sky Noise. Their first three albums. On Letting Go is probably like one of the more meaningful albums to me because it's kind of what got me into the band. It's how I found them. Their music was given to me by a friend of mine in high school, and I just kind of pretty much instantly fell in love.
That's Sam?
Yeah, Sam gave it to me.
Shout out to Sam Zimmerman.
Shout out to Sam. And then I went to that signing where I got Blue Sky Noise vinyl signed by the whole band, and that's probably like the start where I started really getting into them. I wasn't really that into them at the time. I was like, oh yeah, I'll go see like a good acoustic show of this band I kind of know and get an album and shit signed. Now, cool.
Yeah, this it's my favorite album. Probably holds the most meaning to me as well. Songs like Imaginary Enemy and I Felt Free are on this one.
Yeah.
So it's also probably their most well known.
Yeah, probably, and it's regarded as one of their best.
Yeah, it's my number one.
A lot of people also kind of take my side with On Letting Go, but
yeah.
I do love both those albums. Having trouble with that?
Oh no, there was one of the clips out.
Okay.
I fixed it.
Alright, so on to the census. Basically, for about a few months, I'd kind of been like hearing like bits and pieces like, oh, Circa's in the studio. I'm like, alright, cool. Well, I wasn't a huge fan of Violent Waves, so I wasn't like really...
There was no hype for us.
I wasn't really hyped. I was just like, kind of just like, I'm gonna just wait, see what happens. Because the last one was like, it had like 3 or 4 like really good songs, and the rest of the album just kind of like blended together into just a little bit of boring.
Yeah, there was no... I honestly couldn't name the last 5 songs on the album. I couldn't do it for you.
I only remember like the first 4, and those were like the best, and the rest were just like...
They were solid, though. They were solid songs.
Yeah, they were really solid.
And those were the 4 that they performed live when we saw them in Philly. That was the first time I saw them.
Yeah.
And they... always amazing live. Anthony's voice is... Anthony Green is indeed a golden god.
That he is.
He is indeed a golden god.
Shit, I've seen projects of Anthony 10 times now.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen Circa Survive 6 times. I've seen him solo twice. Gonna see him again in about a week when we're since this is, like, while this being recorded, like, a week from today is basically when we're going to that show.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then,
get to meet him again.
Yeah, I get to meet him again. I've met him several times. And then... Was I going? Sorry. Yeah, I've seen Seosin with him frontmanning and Sound of Animals fighting with him. So yeah.
Back to that skate and surf show where we learned about Knuckle Puck. That's got to be up there for best show of 2014. It's up there. We'll discuss that in a later video.
Yeah.
But back to Decensus here. They released 2 singles off the album. Two?
Yeah, first one they came out with was Only the Sun. With no fuck was Schema. It
Yeah.
came out with a video, like they did like a full length like music video with it, and it was like really weird.
It was
I just
very
remember
weird.
watching it. I was just like, it came out while I was in studio, and I watched it while I was in studio, and I
Yeah,
was
you
just
sent
like,
it to me immediately too.
I was just like watching it, like, fuck is going on
What
here?
is happening?
Just like very confused in the
It's
middle of class, just like, what is this that I'm viewing?
it's about 3 minutes of Anthony Green getting his ass kicked by a giant man baby with
Yeah.
a crow just off to the side.
Yeah,
Just a crow.
and it was like so weird because like when that video came out, like everybody was trying to figure out like what it was about, and it's just like I don't even know what to think
There were a
about
couple of
this.
really awesome YouTube theories though. Like the one that stuck with me was Anthony Green is fighting with himself with his family because he's had 3 kids in 4 years. That's a lot of kids in not a lot of years.
Nah,
And he so like the big theory was that it's a video about him struggling with his family life, and so the family was stronger than his own will or whatever, and it was just beating him up and tearing him down a little bit, which isn't too far off from the truth actually.
yeah, right.
We're going to talk about a Huffington Post article a little later. Before that, the second single, Only the Sun,
It just
came out.
it just kind of came out like 2 weeks later or something like that,
Yeah,
like a
it
week or
was
so
2 weeks
later,
later.
and it just kind of had like just some like it had like a video, but it wasn't like a real like music video. It's just kind of like one of those things where it's just like, here's just some sheeps moving
Yeah,
to entertain you while you hear this music, because we need something to justify this being on YouTube.
yeah, exactly.
We
It
need
wasn't
something to
just- it
go
wasn't
along
just
with this
sound.
audio. But it was a good song. I did enjoy it, and I was like, all right, cool. And then, like, basically, as soon as I heard Schema, I was like, all right, I'm ready for this fucking album. Like, this is
Came in super heavy, just screeching guitars and nonsensical drums, and then settled into this amazing powerhouse of a song. It was heavier than anything I've ever heard Circa do.
oh yeah, it's like it's definitely their heaviest album. Schema is probably one of the heavier songs they've done. The only thing that even gets close, I would say, is Lottery off Violent
Yeah,
Waves.
yeah. It's basically takes Lottery and makes it look slow.
Yeah.
The album itself,
It was just
but not
holy
just
shit. Like,
not
it just
just
kind of blew me away.
not just musically though, even emotionally. This album has a lot behind it, and I referenced the Huffington Post article a little earlier,
Yeah.
and Dave and I both read it. Dave not so much, but after I was reading it at work, and it got a little misty. It got a little misty.
I just kind of was reading it like in almost like sheer like disbelief, just like because it was talking about how basically the whole band just kind of like almost like fell apart. Like nobody was talking to each other.
Individually, they fell apart, and
Things were just kind of like they were just all like stuck in their own lives, and they didn't really know what was going on in each other's, and everyone was kind of just stuck in their own problems. And one of the guitarists, Colin, was going through divorce, and
so was Nick.
yeah, and Colin was saying it took him a month to even know that that was happening, and he was just like, I didn't even know for like a month that Nick was going through the same shit. So
nobody was talking to each other.
Yeah, and then like,
and during all of that, Anthony was struggling with addiction.
Yeah, and basically like in the article they were saying like, I mean, they always knew like Anthony was like doing like something, like
Recreational drugs.
whether it would be like pills or like shrooms or other psychedelics, like he was always doing something.
One of the quotes from the article is that he had never written a complete album sober.
Yeah, and then like somehow just like the people that he was going to get like drugs or whatever, like it was just like, we can give you heroin if you want to try that. And then he just got hooked on fucking like heroin for like almost a full year. He was just taking heroin, hiding it from the rest of the band, from his family, from everybody.
His wife. One thing that jumped out at me, it was probably the thing that started the mistiness, was a quote from Anthony about how he was high, he was shooting up, and then going home to his kids his 3 kids, which I think the oldest is 4 now. James is 4 now, so
something like that. Yeah.
that's a scary thought to be that messed up in front of your kids, and you have to be this father figure that provides for your family.
And like it got to the point where basically like even his wife was like starting to like realize like something was like definitely wrong, and she
Absolutely.
talked to one of the other guitarists who was Anthony's like best friend, Brendan.
Yeah.
And it just got to the point where Brendan just kind of like went to his house one day and just said, pretty much, what the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah. And then that's how everybody found out, like, because he just couldn't take it anymore.
And this is all while they're supposed to be writing and preparing for a new album that was to be produced by Will Yip, who's an awesome producer. He's put out some awesome shit.
Yeah, like everything that guy touches is just amazing. Just like every time it's just like, hey, yeah, Will Yip's helping us with this shit. It's like, oh well, you guys are good. You're good.
It's gonna
be
good.
He's gonna make damn sure.
But they had nothing for him a month out.
And then like
they locked themselves up in their little band cabin.
The Creek House, as they call it.
Yeah, and
they just fucking
and they came up with Decensus, and
like they were saying like they wrote pretty much the whole album within like 2-3 weeks.
And that's unheard of.
It's insane.
Unheard of.
And they went in and like within a month, like the whole thing was recorded. Like they had written, recorded, and like basically made a album in just over a month. And they were just like, wow. And the whole time they were just all like completely sober doing this, because they were just like, we're all having our problems and we've all been like struggling with something, so let's just drop everything, let's just not take any of this shit that's been like fucking with us, and just go. And the census was done completely sober, no alcohol, no drugs, nothing.
And the article even touched on the future of the band as a whole, because where do you go from here? You reach this climax of emotions, and you put it into musical form. And Colin actually had a little excerpt in the article about how he doesn't want the band to be something they hold on to for too long. When its time is up, everybody will know, and they'll go their separate ways. It'll be amicable. There won't be a big deal, kind of like Blink-182. Blink-182 had a big deal of a breakup. There was a lot of bad blood there. And then eventually they got back together. But he didn't say anything along those lines. It's just, as long as we're still making music and we're enjoying this, that's what they're going to be doing. And it got to the point where before they all locked themselves up in the Creek House, it was, do we want to do this album, or do we just call it a day? Do we call the band right now? And they didn't. They gave us Decensus, and I thank them for it.
Yeah, no. It's great that they were able to like get through what they were going through, just to like, and they gave us this amazing album, and it shows like definitely that maybe it like these chemicals and like everything that they were taking before, like maybe that's what was maybe holding them back, because the census is like, it's almost for me like on par with like one of the, like it's probably like one of the better things they've written.
Absolutely.
And it's like, as far as meaning goes, I guess I could say it's not quite as meaningful to me as like their older stuff, because I guess I've held on to it longer, and
you'll never be that same person.
Yeah, I've attached different things to it. So, and I guess the fact that I've only had, the census, like I've only been able to listen to it for like a month or so, while I've been listening to their other shit since like 2008 or something like that, like 6 years, like almost 7 years I've been listening to this band. And like the stuff that was out when I first started listening to them, like I guess I have interpreted it a certain way, and it's just over time I've attached meanings. So maybe Decensus can get that for me, and I hope it can. But even just having the songs and knowing what they went through to make it, it's just that's fucking amazing.
All right, so I know you said Schema was probably your favorite song, but I mean, a non-single. What would you say?
I always feel bad because sometimes my favorite songs are the singles, and I want to retain some of that indie cred.
Yeah,
and it's just like, fuck, but the single's so good. Like for a while, I don't know, like I don't know. There's just been a bunch of albums where I've liked the singles, and I just kind of feel shitty about it. I want to be one of those people that's just like, oh yeah, I know that one song by that band. I'm a fan of them. I'm like, no, I like the whole album, but just that song is good.
But you're still
Damn
calling
it.
it.
Damn
Still
it.
calling schema.
Damn it. Yeah, but notable mentions, I'd say, Child of the Desert's a really good one.
Child of the
I do
Desert
like
is
that
a
one.
very good song.
And Phantom, because it's just like, it's one of those, like, more like just chilled out. It's got like a nice groove to it, and it's really just easy listening.
They had two
it's
pretty
nice.
chilled out songs. The other one that isn't Phantom is my favorite song on the album, which is Nesting Dolls, and it's 6 minutes long, and there's no breakdown. There's nothing. It's just a chilled out guitar and Anthony singing.
Yeah,
and it puts you in a different place if you listen to it in the right mindset. And I'm not talking about any sort of inebriation, because even as a straight edge kid over here, you know, music can put me in a different mindset. They did amazing things with this album. It's very close to the perfect album for me.
Yeah.
It's definitely up there with some of their best work.
I haven't thought of any joke of how to rate this.
I haven't either. But
I
you
mean,
know
we
what?
had a joke rating in our Knuckle Puck video, but
I don't think it needs a joke because of how heavy
it's just a good album.
the emotion was.
It's just good. I don't want to put numbers on things. I used to put numbers on things in old reviews, but I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah, numbers are hard.
It's really good. They went through a lot to bring this to us, and I respect them all for that. And just listen to the fucking album because it's great.
And once again, we will be doing future videos, and expect to hear us talk about Decensus even more with our 2014 year in review video, which I'm very excited for.
I have no idea when we're gonna do this, but it'll happen.
It'll happen. Might be in February. Right before the radio show.
it'll be out like early January, hopefully. We'll continue to give updates, but thank you all for watching this.
See ya.